Hi, good morning, it's Dean from maverickstar Observatory. A couple of things I want to get through in this video. One of them I'm pretty sure is going to surprise you. I'm going to start with that straight away. What do you think at the moment your compass needle on your compass is pointing to right now? When you see it moving in the, aiming in the direction of north, what do you think it's actually being drawn by? Well, I'll tell you this. There is no reason for your compass to be pointing where it is right now for any reason, because generally compasses point at poles, and right now where our compass is pointing there is no pole, even though the dipole is there and that's why your compass is being attracted to it. There is no intensity there whatsoever. The reason why your compass is pointing where it is right now is because of the two intensities over the northern hemisphere, which you can see in the top left hand disc, and you can see also in the bottom left hand disc, well, bottom central disc. Those pink areas or reddish areas are the intensities. You can do this at home if you've got a compass. Bring two magnets slowly into the vicinity of the magnetic north pole, and you'll find that the compass will find its position in between the two. If you remove one, then the compass will be drawn to the pole on that magnet. Very simple experiment you can do. And this is why we came up with the theory, and I have to emphasize this, it's a theory, that in 2 years we will pass the weak field lines and move into the strong field lines, because our Earth right now is acting exactly like a compass needle. Where the magnetic north pole is, as you can see it migrating over there, is only there because of the two intensities left and right. So, about a year ago, I came out and told people that the Earth had got 4 magnetic poles, 2 over the northern hemisphere, 2 over the southern hemisphere, and that is exactly correct. That is what we do have at the moment, and you can see in between the two that field of low intensity. But why is the pole moving over towards Russia? Well, as you can see in the top left hand disc, the intensity over Russia is increasing. So that's like bringing that second magnet that we've got in our little theoretical experiment now close to the compass. And if you do this experiment at home, what you'll find is the needle moves towards the one that you're now lowering in the vicinity of the compass. And if we look over again at the disc, we can see that over Canada that intensity is weakening. So again, if we got our little experiment set up and you guys are following me here, just move the other magnet away from the compass needle, and you'll see it pull even more to the other one. And that is exactly what's happening. There is no intensity right now where our magnetic poles, our compasses are showing us where there should be. There's no intensity. We're just caught in the field of a weakening intensity over Canada and an increasing intensity over Russia. And as we can see over the time span of this video that we're watching from Swan, we can see that inevitably Russia is going to win the pole. It should be around 2 years that we see the pole leave the strong field lines over the northern hemisphere and move into those weak field lines. And at that point we should get a reversal. But that yet is to remain to be seen, guys, because this intensity over Russia doesn't seem to be migrating south very fastly. So we've got a couple of theories that we're going to wait and see how they play out. If we start to see the intensity, and it is slowly increasing, we can see that by looking at the data from Swarm, we can see that the intensity over Russia is increasing. So the area is getting larger, but is it migrating towards the equatorial region? That would be an indicator that the poles are going to go into a reverse. And it could be an indication that things might not be too bad. Yes, the climate has been affected right now. The magnetosphere has weakened, and as a result, we are getting more cosmic rays, which are causing problems with the jet streams and the biodiversity across the range. So what we want to know is what is going to happen next. We know through watching this that the intensity is increasing, so that the dipole is being drawn from Canada over to Russia. So we know that that's a fact, but we don't know what will happen next. Now, you can do this experiment at home as well with your compass and your magnet. If you slowly turn the magnet in the vicinity of the compass, what you'll see is that the needle will migrate 40 degrees. And then when it gets to 40 degrees, it'll start to wobble a little bit. And if you just turn the magnet just slightly a bit more, what will happen is the compass needle will leave the strong field lines and go into the weak field lines. And when it does that, it moves to the south very quickly. That's what we're theoretically proposing will happen. But we've got to wait and see. You know, we don't know exactly what is going to happen. And we don't know what effects will be increased, if any, at that point in time where, you know, we leave the strong field lines and go into the weak field lines. But right now, we can say one thing, is that the pole is heading towards Russia. And if that intensity doesn't move towards the equatorial region, it might be the new position of the magnetic North Pole. We do have another anomaly which we need to start really paying more attention to, and that is the South Atlantic anomaly, because that is causing something very strange to happen in the southern hemisphere of our planet, and also likewise with the poles. Because if we look at what's taking place over the northern hemisphere, it certainly isn't the case for the southern hemisphere. And the only thing we have different taking place in the southern hemisphere is the low intensity South Atlantic anomaly, because that dipole should be by rights behaving similarly to what's happening over in the northern hemisphere, but that isn't the case. And the only explanation for that can only be is that there is something else taking place which we know about, which is the anomaly, because it should be in between the two intensities, but it's not. As you can see, it's leaving the Antarctic Peninsula and moving almost in a direction towards Australia, or the south coast of Australia. So, you know, there are a lot of interesting things taking place with regards to the magnetism on our planet. You know, if you're really interested in this, you know, I think you will agree we are approaching exciting times. But we have to, you know, put things in perspective. And this is very difficult when it comes to the general public. And, you know, we do publish a lot of stuff on YouTube and therefore interact with the general public. And that is where a lot of the nightmares really begin to happen. Because, you know, when you're dealing with the general public, like we are, you know, on average over 1,000 views on a video most days, and, you know, probably over 100,000 views a month, you know, that's a lot of people's individual opinions. And some people take what they hear and interpret it in different ways. You know, some people will see this as a catastrophe, some people will see this as nothing to worry about, but where I come from is that this is a rare event. And yes, we have had, you know, several excursions since the last completed reversal, but we're over 500,000 years overdue on a completed reversal already. And that to me says that something else has changed in the dynamo which sets up, you know, the magnetosphere and the poles in the first place. So there's something going on in our core, deep beneath our feet, that is irregular. And that is why we can't compare this reversal to those previous ones that used to take place on or average about every 300 to 350,000 years. And, you know, we can, you know, start to, you know, predict things, you know, like, you know, we know that Mars had a magnetic pole. And we know it had an atmosphere, we know it had a magnetosphere, and today it no longer does. You know, we can't outrule that Mars's fate could be repeated with Earth, because this has already happened to one of our most neighbouring planets in our solar system. And that really is why I see this as such an important topic to follow. We can see the changes that have been taking place. I don't think it's by any coincidence that the rate of acceleration of the movement of the poles over the northern hemisphere has just been a coincidence when we compare the rate of change of climate on our planet, matching it almost perfectly. I think that they are both linked. And we have, through doing a little bit of research on the topic now over the last 10 years, learned a lot about it. That's why we can come to the table to you guys and explain what is going on, because this is something that NASA, NOAA, the European Space Agency simply hasn't done for you. They haven't explained it in the way that I have, just for you, why your compass needle is not pointing at any pole or major intensity whatsoever. It's caught up in the middle of two intensities. And I've showed you or explained to you today how you can replicate this with a compass and a couple of magnets yourselves to get an idea as to what's going on. So I hope I've cleared up that little bit. And what we're trying to do here at the observatory is just get some more equipment out to monitor further what is going on with these high intensity regions. And we've been lucky recently to have one of our superstars, Kendall, in Canada, not just take on a muon detector for us, but also a magnetometer, so that we can monitor over time, hopefully, the decrease in that intensity. But there are a few of the sweet spots around our world where we would like to get some equipment. And you guys can help us do that by help funding our observatory and our efforts here. We can do a little bit more and hopefully learn a little bit more about this interesting topic, because it really is a rare anomaly. When you think about it, human beings weren't even here the last time the Earth went through a completed magnetic reversal, and therefore we have no data to fall back on as to what to expect during this process. If you compare it with any other thing that is going on in our solar system, around our world, you will know that this is the real big white elephant in the room, that nobody seems to be wanting to talk about it, at least in mainstream media and from these bigger organisations. And you have to ask yourself, why is that? Guys, there's a link down there if you want to help support what we do at the observatory. I really and sincerely hope that that is something you want to do. And I'm going to say what I usually do. You enjoy the rest of your day. Take care of your loved ones. And as always, bye for now.